I'm here. Doing up-to-date updates. Trying to get some scoop, trying to find out what the hell's going on with the market. Hope everybody's doing well. You know, I'm finishing dinner, so y'all got to excuse me. What's happening? What's happening? Hope everybody's doing well on this Tuesday. Welcome to the most unprofessional YouTube live that you've ever come across. Y'all wouldn't expect anything different from me. Just going through crypto Twitter, seeing what's going on, trying to take some notes. Bank of Japan has confirmed it will increase interest rates to 75 BPS in 3 days. I don't know who Linda is. Her name is CryptoFly, but one of the first things you know, I don't know what this white is all over me. It's like pillow exploded on me or something. But I don't know who this girl is, a lady. But one of the first things we know in crypto is you don't keep money on exchanges. And many of y'all who have asked me about VPNs to get into exchanges, what did Grumpy tell y'all? Sometimes you have these exchanges that let you send money to them. You get to play around on the exchange. You get to do leverage. You get to do all this stuff. And then when it comes time to get your winnings out, your profit out, that's when they hit you with the KYC and then you're screwed. And here's Linda. Listen, Linda. Linda says, CryptoFly 777. An exchange just froze my funds until I submit full KYC, proof of income, employer, financial history, etc. This is an off-ramp problem that self-custody doesn't fix. If access to your money requires permission, crypto hasn't solved it. I'm pretty sure that whatever exchange you're playing with, there was a KYC and you probably using a VPN or just trying to get around it or something. I'm sure you weren't this surprised. You probably thought you could get around getting it out. Let's be honest. Stop using exchanges like everyone says. See, she wants people to feel sorry for her, but these people are smart enough to know that's not what the hell's going on here. We're not. This is why I tell y'all, don't play with VPNs and stuff like that because you're going to get stuck. Who's using Helium? They got good phone service. I think 619 is a huge Helium fan. He was like this ambassador for Helium. So 619 OTA is your go-to guy for anything Helium. Him and plus 120 are the Helium guys. good micro caps. I have not been looking at any of that stuff with the way the crypto market is. Now listen, I know people that were playing with some degen tokens back in the bear market when it was in the bottom of the bottom and were doing very well. But for every one or two that you do good on, you also get wrecked on some also. But I don't know of any micro cap tokens or anything like that. I just think things are different. So echo sound. Okay, maybe. I don't know if I had it from I don't know if I might have had it from the YouTube when I'm trying to watch y'all's comments and stuff. All right, dinner's over. Let's get started. Let's see what else. So for those who haven't heard or missed it in my video, I went hunting Sunday night and was successful and got an 8-point. You know, it sucks that we live in a time that I can't share it with y'all because a lot of y'all know I have a hunting channel, YouTube channel, but I can't show it on Discord. I can't show it on YouTube because who knows who's gonna get me blocked, shut down, or their feelings hurt or something like that. So it sucks that you can't go share. You know, you can't go share that kind of news and stuff like that. So also, I am not going to be a repeat Super Bowl champion for my fantasy football league. I was upset in the first round of the playoffs. So now I get more time to concentrate on crypto, and this keeps distracting me. Like I can't get it off my shirt. I don't know what it is. It's like cotton or something. Yeah, so no fantasy football for the rest of the season. Been dealing with mesh core. I know some of y'all in these lives we have discussed mesh core or meshtastic. I currently have about 4 different repeaters or nodes up for mesh core and meshtastic, and so far I am not caring for this project at all. This is not a crypto project. This is just a kind of off-grid communication hobby type of thing, and the range on it sucks. And I know that people get really excited for it, and they have a bunch of local Discord groups and stuff like that, but RF wise, it's very unreliable. You know, you get about a mile away from a node, even though the node's 50 feet in the air, you don't get anything. You don't get coverage or anything like that. I'm very disappointed for the amount of work and building stations and doing the stuff I'm doing. So I don't know if anybody's here messing to it. Never heard of Alpha Kick. Alpha Kick. Never heard of it. Um, watched the video earlier, talked about what happened to the alt season, if there's gonna be alt season coming and stuff like that. And I have mentioned this before a couple of times, and people said it didn't matter or whatever comment they want to disagree. Hey, everybody can disagree. It don't hurt my feelings. I'm used to it by now. But you know, when you watch other YouTubers who start saying the same thing, maybe we own something. We talked about alt season, and I said one or it's kind of not one thing. It's a combination of maybe a combination of 2 things would hurt us not really having alt season. Now, is the cycle over with? If we don't have alt season by next week, does it mean it's not coming? I'm not saying that. But when you look at the past cycles, the 2017, 2021, whatever it was, we should be in one by now. And I've said over and over, while the ETFs really helped us get more people into crypto, more people into Bitcoin, the other issue is that there's more money into Bitcoin and people put their money into that. So you don't have as much money, or the share of it, how about that, going in, goes into Bitcoin and not into the other stuff. But also there are, using the word I saw in the video, tens of thousands of more altcoins for money to get distributed to. So it's getting spread out, where 2017 you had a lot less altcoins. 2021 you had a little more, and this time you really have it. And I'm not even talking about the memes. I'm talking about strictly how many new projects and how many new chains and everything. How much more do we have since the last alt season? And if we're still gonna follow this cycle, when the next one comes in 4 years, what do you think that one's gonna be like? We talked about it earlier in my Discord. If y'all not in my Discord, I will join it. But people ask me about, am I DCing into vet? Am I DCing into other tokens? And this might be my stubbornness that's coming into play here, but I'm planning on putting into vet. I got alarms set on my Bitcoin and on my vet and everything else like that for when it hits. I got close to that 1 penny mark. At 1 penny, good below 1 penny, I'm taking tokens from somewhere. I'm swapping tokens for vet. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be helium or just all the other junk I got, like Demo and Sword Chain and stuff like that, where it's only like $100 something. I feel more confident that vet will go back up to 5 or 6x from here than Demo or Sword Chain, so, or even helium. I still say you buy vet under $1, goes back to nickel. 20 cents is all-time high. If it ever goes back to all-time high, it's a pretty good profit. It just goes against everything I just said the first 5 minutes about, will we have another alt season? I don't know. One video I just watched, the guy said he thinks Bitcoin could see a $68,000 to $70,000 price at some point. It costs currently a little over $70,000 to make a Bitcoin. I don't know where he got the number from, but that's what they're saying. And you looked at one of the last drops we had, that's what it hit also, what it cost to make a Bitcoin. So, we've had a little cut back up, but I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Helium. Yeah, helium. Am I still in ENT? Yes. I guess you're trying to trigger me. We had a big discussion also on my Discord earlier today with that, and also discussed. I also discussed it on a video yesterday. Um, you know, that was on my notes on one thing to go over, but I guess we can go ahead and hit on that now. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, guys. Hold on. All right. I had to change shirts. I was getting so distracted by that white lint all over my. All right, it's a little better. Here we go. What are we talking about again? The one thing we try to stay away from is, dumping a project right when it comes out. And while you don't like to see that, you look at the pattern of what's been going on with TGEs. And while you can sit there and try to say, yeah, guys, I'm planning on holding my token. When Wingbits comes out, I'm planning on holding that token. When Grass does their drop, whatever it is, I made my tokens went up to over $1,000 worth when Grass went up almost to $4 and stuff like that. Then you look where it's at now. You try to preach the good word. If some of y'all go to church, you preach the good word that you hold, you hodl. If you like this project, you don't cash out. But then when I look in the mirror and I look at my wallets and I look at my sheet that I go over last night, like I screwed up. But it's a give and a take. And for me, it's a little bit different. By no means am I some big YouTuber. I am not a big YouTuber compared to some of these other ones that have 100,000 or 500,000 or 1,000,000 subscribers. But in certain circles, people know me. If you went in Entropy's Discord and Wingbits Discord, maybe even Demo's Discord, Grass's Discord, and you mention Grumpy, people are going to know who you're talking about. So if I go and I'm telling all y'all to go into Entropy, but Entropy is about holding, it's a meme coin, it's nothing, and all this stuff like that. And hey, if you get this miner, you can't sell. If you sell, you're going to get in trouble. Don't sell, don't sell, don't sell. And then you find out that Grumpy sold while I'm telling y'all don't sell. Y'all going to call me BitBoy Jr. And that's kind of like, that's the dilemma I'm in. Well, I'm sitting there telling y'all to trust in the project and don't go sell them tokens. If y'all found out that I was dumping 375 AI 2 hours after it dropped on TGE, that looked pretty crappy. And I don't want that reputation. And it kind of puts me in a crappy situation. Because I feel like when I take profits, the only thing I really taken profits on over the last month or two, because times were getting tight out here at my house, was Crow, which didn't really ever do a video on Crow. And I swipe my Crow debit card everywhere. I don't care where it is. I don't care. I'm sitting here writing bills out, doing bills every 2 weeks when I get paid. I use the Crow card for all of it. So I put in 48,000 4,800 Crow tokens to stake for $1,000 worth back 3 or 4 years ago when that was worth, that $4,000. And now I have 30,000. Well, I had before I started selling them. I had over 30,000 tokens. So I made 25,200 tokens. I sold a little bit of demo just because I got 2 stations. I'm doing pretty well with it. And kind of wanted to take a little profit from that. That's about it. So, it seems like the people who do dump them tokens in the beginning end up better. And so when your next new project comes out, I'm going to use Combinder or Brusho or CapturGO. When you go TGE, how do you not sell it right away? Wingbits is a little bit harder because Wingbits saw that writing on the wall, and to keep their token, sustainable, whatever word you want to use, they're taking all your testnet tokens. So, I'll be in that testnet. I'll be going on 3 years in about 3 months of being in that project. Me, Axie, and a couple other people. They're taking 3 years worth of our testnet tokens, and they're going to be split up over 12 months. That's a lot of tokens. I was the first place Wingbits holder. First place in the entire project. Then when I sold a little bit last week, with that exchange they had, I'm told I'm no longer in first place, but I still hold the first place award for the most wings ever mined. But I don't know. I don't know what the hell to do. Eyebrow. Roar said 30 days straight inflow of XRP. But somebody brought up XRP the other day, and I know y'all think I'm always hating on XRP. I own a little bit. I own a little bit, small share. Um, Bought it when it was back at 60, $70, the 60, 70 cents, something like that. Well, $1.97. Like if you somewhat at all believe in this whole XRP thing with banks using it and all this stuff like that, sure, under $2 seems like a good entry. I'm not telling y'all to do it. This isn't financial advice. I'm not doing it. But yet I don't have the cheddar, any of the free capital right now to do anything, to buy any dips. Um, it's it's turned around kind of like what the rest of crypto's done. WIF came back up a little bit. Grass is bragging online about they did some gigantic burn or some buyback or something like that. I see a single green wick. Okay. Adam, Solana, ICP. This is a pretty straight. I don't know. I don't know. I want somebody to tell me what I still say. What the hell is going on with Nubla? Here's helium. Nubla's back, baby. 5% up. 5%. 6% up. 6% in a day. It was up to 6.5 cents. Then it came back down to earth. Week for the week you're holding steady, and this is just crazy. I don't, I never did find an explanation for this. Not financial advice. You better buy more. But I'm not buying more XRP. I got my XRP. Telling you, I'm holding out hope for vet. There's that one penny mark. I got the the trading view alarm set right here for 1 penny. And when that alarm goes off, I'm exchanging, probably using crypto.com because that's where the vet token can be purchased and moved around. I'm buying some vet, man. Not much more of that, but I'm buying some vet. So somebody asked about entropy. It's got a little green candle right here at the end. You keep saying like, at least I keep saying like, well, it can't go down no more. I mean, everybody sold that can sell, right? And sure enough, you get some people that sell. We talked about how they had that party with all those airdrops that went on and to give the people as prizes, and how much was sold out of that. That was crazy. That's this right here. Everybody who wanted sold it. There's no reason to hold on to it. For at one time this liquidity was 250, 300,000. It's down to 114. But I'll still say for a project with 114,000 liquidity in it, it sort of seemed like this is very volatile, this price action. I don't know. Excuse me, guys. I don't know why I'm so tired all of a sudden. I'm sorry. Um, I can't remember to say. Well, in the Discord they started, I don't say arguing. There was a lively discussion about, some people upset over the pricing, and man, y'all can't be upset over the pricing. Again, this isn't the team. This is the other, the people taking up for it. But it's basically saying, y'all can't be upset over the price. You need to be buying the dips, buying the dips. Well, people are buying the dips this whole time as it was doing this. It was up to 0.00094. And they were buying the dips. And like I said, I said it in their Discord. Some of us can't buy dips anymore. We bought dips the whole way down. I did Saturday videos telling y'all how I was buying VET and AVAX and VTHO, whatever it's called, the gas part of VET. And I'm buying all that stuff. And I'm buying it again the next weekend. At some point, you gotta stop the madness. All right. So here comes the live part, 7:30. We call this part of our live. Let's see if we can trigger who fought it. Y'all ready? So another video I watched earlier talked about the Federal Reserve, what's going on with them, and they need a new Fed chairman. And this Fed chairman, depending on who Trump picks, could make a difference in what's going to happen with crypto. They got one guy who, and they saw the standings of, the gambling standards of who could be the next federal commissioner, and there was two guys involved, both named Kevins. Imagine that. Last time he was as the Federal Reserve governor, he was very hawkish. He wants rates to stay the same, if not higher, but he also wants the federal commission to get out of politics. The last one was very tight with Biden and very anti-Trump, and he does not want, and in the past you didn't have that with the Federal Reserve. You had them kind of stay in neutral, and you kind of want to see that again. They are politics. And one thing that they discussed in this video is that do these rate cuts or hikes even help us or hurt us? Because you've had 2 rate cuts in the last, 2 months? And look where we're at now with crypto. We're not doing that much better. So, like I said, in the video I watched, the guys talking about Bitcoin going down to 72,000 because that's what it's currently costing. But the video I watched, like this guy says, and the reason I keep saying is because I kind of agree with some of the stuff he said, that rate cuts really don't help right now. You need more market regulation, and some people in crypto are dead set against it. Y'all know Grumpy's rule number 12. I don't even have to look it up. Grumpy's rule 12. Everybody wants decentralized until decentralized things happen. I think that's number 12. Might be number 11 or 10. I don't know, but it's up there. But everybody wants decentralized crypto until decentralized stuff happens. It's been shown before. You can see the money being moved around, but CEX manipulating in different groups, different whales, manipulating the market, wiping out longs, wiping out shorts, wiping out leverage to make money. And they're just playing this game at this point. So that was Kevin Warsh. The other guy is Kevin Hassett. And they consider him a full crypto warrior. And you could see him craft different tax cuts that would help us, help out the country. He is advisor for Coinbase, and he owns somewhere between, this is like a wide range number, somewhere between 1 to 5 million of crypto Coinbase stocks. That's a bit much. But he is very bullish on crypto. So yeah, we want to see Kevin Hassett, at least the way this looks, become the new federal chair. I don't know what the time frame is on that. If that, it just is that an appointee from Trump? Is that he has a nominee and has to go in front of Congress. That's one thing I don't know about. The video I watched didn't even mention that part of it, but I don't know when the federal chairman now, Powell, is out. If he's out, is he 100% out? Or is he still out there chasing XRP up and down the street? I'm sorry, my wife is texting me. She knows Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm stuck in front of the computer. I promised her I wouldn't be as long tonight. She wants to watch something. There's only 2 or 3 series that we watch together. Landman. Look, I used to hunt in Texas, and I still hunt in Texas, but even as a little kid with my dad, I remember going to see my first oil pumps, oil derricks, not oil derricks, but the oil jack-ups and whatever they call them. And I don't know, that show just reminds me a lot about that in the past and going to Texas. So I'm stuck on Landman. And we've always watched NCIS for years. So we watch NCIS and NCIS Origins. That's our 3 shows. And Mandy and George first wedding, or first marriage. It's okay. And I got stuck watching DMV, and oh my God, it's horrible. Yet I got to catch up every episode. You ever get in shows like that? Like it sucks so bad. Like you notice it's getting canceled, but I can't wait till next week's to see how bad it is. Like that's where I'm at with that. I finally finished. I started watching Stranger Things. I got through the Stranger Things, the first volume or whatever it was, which was what, 5 episodes. It seems a little different. I do agree with some of the critics that it's not something different about the kids and the whole thing. I don't know. Oh, I don't know why. It's only on Tuesdays. You don't see me yawning in my videos on Monday. You don't see me yawning on Thursdays. Maybe it's just because Mondays are so stressful for me that let's see. Terminal List with Chris Pratt. I finished Terminal List. There's a new Terminal List coming out, and with Taylor Kish, is that his name? But if you didn't watch the first Terminal List, it was pretty good. So that's my entertainment show. But yeah, my wife says I can't be too late tonight because she wants to catch up on TV shows and she can't catch up on Landman until I get back. So yeah, hopefully we get Kevin Hassett in as Federal Trade Commission. Maybe some things happen. Maybe I've called it wrong since 2015, and me not getting in Bitcoin was my worst mistake that I've yet to learn from because I still don't have a lot of Bitcoin. I keep trying to chase, excuse me, the big gains. And, I kept telling myself that when Bitcoin's 50 grand, why put money into it? Even if it was 100 grand, it's only a 2x, but at least it's going up. You know how much y'all don't know how much money I put into Atom and Cardano and some of these other in Solana during these off season, during the bear markets. You got another show for it. So do I have Sui play? No, I did not. Who fought it said we lost interest in Stranger Things other like season 3. I do have to say it seemed like honestly they could have ended it after season like 1, 2, or 3 with the ending they had. And it was almost like it became so cult like, it became so crazy popular. They're like, we ain't quitting this. We got to keep on going. And then they bring the guy, you think it's ended and it ain't ended. And it's like, oh, Other than last season, like you knew they were coming back for the final one with that ending. Crypto bullcoins calling me out on a bunch of stuff, man. No, I'm not in Tao. Um, let's see. So yeah, so these guys were board of governors before. I'm reading who fought it comment earlier. So, but pre-Trump, the chairman served a 4-year term after being nominated by the president of the United States and confirmed by the United States Senate. Office holder serves concurrently as a member. So yeah, the lip kid. Actually, I think he has no jawbone. I think he's born with no jawbone, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I found he was funnier when he was younger. Now they're trying to make him into the metal rock star, you know, poser looking, devil worshiping poser, meaning like he'll wear the stuff like after Eddie and all that, but he's not. Especially in the season 5, y'all didn't watch was season 5, whatever season is right now. Like he's wearing the devil stuff as like he wants to, I guess, memorialize Eddie, and people don't realize what he did, and like some of it, though, what's coming. Like you watching, like, all right, I know what the next 20 minutes is going to be. I think it's time for the show to go. I really do. Like I liked it. I just think it's time for the show to go. Like what you're going to have these kids. It was all cool because you had kids who were 8, 9, 10 years old, maybe from the first season or two, and these kids had bigger balls and testicles than grown men, going after some of these demons and going after the stuff they were doing. And I think that was cool of it. I can remember myself as an 80s kid going off and doing some crazy stuff that to this day, a couple of years later, I'm not going to age myself, but my parents still don't know some of the stuff that we went off and did. But as an 80s kid, you knew you better have your butt home by the time the street lights come on. We didn't have phones. We didn't have, different things like that. We knew that when the lights came on, it was time to get our asses home. And that was it. And who knows what you were doing during the day? How we didn't have more kids kidnapped or anything like that, I don't know. But we didn't get involved in that. And I guess that show kind of reminded me of that. Kind of like I like watching Landman, because he's out there dealing with the oil and dealing in the Texas deserts and stuff like that. It reminds me of that. I can see the same thing with Stranger Things, me being an 80s kid. Especially when you see some of the stuff that they're watching on TV, some of the stuff they're playing with. I'm like, I had one of those. Or I remember that. Or my buddy had one of those. And it's kind of gotten away from that now. So I never was an X-Files person. I don't know why. For me being a science geek and into space and stuff like that, but I really was never, I don't know if just because when X-Files was coming out in the mid 90s, I was dating girls and senior high school, middle high school, right out of high school, and 18 to 20 years old, I was doing other stuff, and I wasn't at home watching X Files. It's crazy. Um, Looking forward to Landman. Just finish also. Now I'm gonna tell you something else about me. Since we're talking about this and not crypto, I couldn't get into Yellowstone. I think it was the girl. Like she was over the top, and I'm like, this is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like the Western. You know what I mean? I watch Westerns. I joke about that all the time. As I wake up on Saturday mornings, where as an 80s kid, you'd wake up on Saturday mornings and you'd watch cartoons and stuff. They have the cartoon channel now, Toon TV or whatever it's called. My Me TV Tunes or something like that. It has all the old tunes in it. I watch that, or I watch Westerns. I'll sit there and watch the Rifleman, you know, Wyatt Earp. There's a Wyatt Earp series that you can watch on Pluto and stuff like that. I'm watching Rifleman. I'm watching all these old Westerns, and that's what I do on Saturdays. And I thought I'd get into Yellowstone because of that. My dad's really into Westerns, and he loved Yellowstone. Couldn't get over the girl, you know. maybe easy on the eyes, but as soon as she talked and she just, I don't want to say the B word, I'll get in trouble. She complained the entire time and she was a little wild and crazy. I couldn't deal with it. Now the other two, the pre-series or the prequels, whatever you want to call them, of Yellowstone, I loved them. What were they, like 1882 or whatever it was, and 1914 or 1912 or whatever it was? Loved both of them. Couldn't get enough of them. Loved them. But I haven't, I know they got the one coming out with the son who's, in some kind of special law enforcement or something like that. So, seeing 8-Bit Christmas, a really funny Christmas movie for the whole gang. Tell you right now, other than maybe football, my whole gang does not get together. We will get together for football. 8-Bit Christmas with, man, it's pretty PG. What kind of, like, that's Neil Patrick Harris and Steve Zahn. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why Tuesdays just wears me out. You know who fought? Are you talking about that girl from Yellowstone? I did not realize how thick or how crazy her accent was in real life, and that um, you know, American English, if that's the word you want to use, is not her first language. Like, she has very serious accent when the interviewer and stuff like that, and the fact that she can get rid of all that and talk like us, that's just crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Christmas Vacation, man, Die Hard, the best Christmas movie they got. And then I got one guy telling me, how the First Blood, the first Rambo movie, which is actually First Blood, um, how that is a Christmas movie because when Rambo is in the when Rambo is in the police station, there's a Christmas tree in the corner. Now, if you blink, you miss it, but because there's one Christmas tree in there, it's cool. I'm gonna tell you something. I think of all the National Lampoons with him in it, between a European Vacation and the first one when they go to Wally World or wherever they go, um, I think this is one of the best ones. So, Cousin Eddie, yeah, I think National Lampoons is the classic and the best ones. So, yeah, I'll never forget watching as a kid, watching Rambo First Blood, 1982, and seeing him when he falls down that ladder in the cave and he has to take a needle or whatever it is and he sews up his own arm because it's bleeding. That was like, so here it is right here. Do you consider First Blood a Christmas movie? And if you look right here in the corner, you can see um a Christmas tree. So I think that's it. It passes the test. The movie was wild. The movie was wild. Tell you, I watched it probably too many times as a kid. But I watched it for the first time, I'm gonna say about a year ago. From beginning to end, it was on Pluto. You'd be surprised how much stuff, now that you're older in life, you realize, like, I didn't catch when I was younger because I didn't know better, didn't know some of the things. But you know, even though Rambo was the best movie. But anyway, anything else? More perplexed than these stupid deep in projects. Oh! I didn't. I'm about to pass all up. I mean, so for he said that. For those of y'all who were in my Discord, caught this already. Mass chain. I'm on the board for mass chain. Here we go. Just get into the y'all know me. I don't do anything half-ass. Plus it's this YouTube video. Y'all ready for this? I'm already past what I've made since I installed my station to its new spot. Let me see if I can shrink this down for y'all a little bit. I'll tell you what though, guys. For those of y'all who are in their Discord, you're gonna need some patience with this one. They're not ready for prime time yet. I think if they can get I don't know. I don't know what the potential is for selling this information. Nobody else is doing it, really. So they have the potential there. You can just tell by look, they're good people. Do not take this the wrong way. They're good guys. You can tell they're passionate about their project, but you can tell it's very early for them. It reminds me a lot of, and they're not related or anything like that, but this reminds me so much of Wingbits 2 years ago. Baby steps, talking about certain things on the projects. One thing I will say is one of Axie's rules in Wingbits that he takes very serious, and you don't really realize it until you're in other Discords, is don't bash other projects in another Discord. You never know who you're going to turn off. And just because there's 2 or 3 people in that Discord that might agree with you, you never know in the background how many people are watching. And, now in my Discord, I kind of let some of it go because I'm not actually pushing a particular project. I don't work for Wingbits, so it's not a Wingbits Discord. I don't work for Junk, so it's not a Junk Discord. But concentrate on your project. Don't allow all the bashing. And when you have the mods for that Discord also engaging in that certain subject, or when certain people put stuff that's only like 73.2% fact, and I want to fill in the stuff that they're mistaken on that they don't know. It's not that I'm a fanboy of certain projects that y'all are knocking. It's just that I just want to give y'all all information. Then from there, this is your Discord. I just want to make sure you know all the information. But here is Mass Chain. And again, I don't half-ass nothing. Especially on stuff like this, I'm going to be in first place. I'm going to be in first place in this one, just like I'm first place in Wingbits. But a lot of y'all keep asking about how many miles can you get with this project. This is what I'm currently getting. This is pretty phenomenal. But it goes to show you how I've tried to tell some of y'all, this is not Wingbits or any other ADSB project. This you on land level, trying to get land level, even if your antenna is 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 feet in the air, you're on land level trying to get other land level devices, ships, in this case, vessels. Where with Wingbits, you're on the ground or feet up, and you're trying to catch airplanes that are 40,000 feet in the air. So you're not going to have to worry about a lot of obstacles like you will with this one. Now, I showed, for those of y'all who saw this, I I also showed a picture from yesterday. Let's see if I can find it real quick. So yesterday this is what I was getting yesterday. So I've had this stuff for 2 days now, and this is what I had yesterday. This antenna is right behind my house. For those of y'all who've seen my videos about the hurricanes and snow day and stuff like that, I've had a couple videos in my backyard. And I have what they call a OCF, which is an off-center fed ham dipole antenna. One side might be 6-7 feet in the air. The other side might be up to 20 feet in the air. So it's slanted. But the thing about this is nowhere close to the AIS frequency. This is low band. This is talking to Greece, like I like to do. This is talking to Mexico, around the world, talking out of state. This is HF frequencies. For you, some of y'all who don't know, AIS might be 161 megahertz. We're talking about 6 megahertz with HF, 5 megahertz, 7 megahertz, 1.9 megahertz, 1. Your FM station might be 105.3. We're talking 1 megahertz. And the lower that megahertz is, the bigger the antenna has to be because of wavelengths. So my point is, this antenna is nowhere tuned even close to VHF. And I was getting between 15 to 20 miles, with that antenna being 5 to about 20 feet in the air. And this is what I got this time. And it goes from that to this. And now I'm getting 40 plus miles. This is the Gulf of Mexico. This is coming in the channel. This is called the Wrigley's right here. This is where I grew up, down here and then here. This is Slidell. So you have a couple of ships cutting through here. Well, chances are they're coming through. This is the Mississippi, the intercoastal Gulf outlet, intercoastal canal, whatever y'all call it. Right here. That's probably what he's, because the intercoastal canal actually stays kind of like this till it gets to a certain point. You have these islands that's kind of, intercoastal waterway is, it's a waterway that is protected by state land. I don't know the exact route of it, but yeah. Anyway, so I'm getting ships out here, which is again was about 45 miles down here into Homa. It appears that one north of Grand Isle. Nope, Grand Isle's here. It says to be Timberlake. I can't think of it. Timberlake Islands. This is a pretty good clip right here. This is a pretty good clip. I'm curious to know how far this is. Now, I'm using a big boy antenna. I'm going to tell you that right now. I have several of y'all asking me about what antenna they use for mass chain. I don't know. It's something that I have not played with yet. I have not tested any yet. But y'all not getting away with mass chain. Y'all not getting away with 6-inch antennas. I'm just telling y'all that right now. Restricted maneuverability. So let's see. What is that value? Can't read it. Can't see what that says. Value Forte something. This is 4 point. Just south of Dulac. There's Dulac. All right, so let's just guess at that point. That's about here. So this is 58 miles. 58 miles. Down here, just south of Bay St. Louis, Waveland. $73 miles. So that's mass chain. Anyway, we'll see what happens with it. We'll see what happens. Wingbits was the best when it came to helping people with DIY. It is not the same antenna as yesterday. This is a VHF antenna that is high up, very high up. It's my temporary permanent home or permanent temporary home. It's there until somebody needs the space, if that makes sense without saying too much. So it's got some good height to it. But I said the picture you saw yesterday, that was a very wrongly tuned antenna, and it was not that high up. So, oh, excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know why Tuesdays. Ugh. But it is interesting. Like, kind of like Wingbits. You can sit right here and you can watch. Y'all ever heard or seen on national news where the Mississippi River, they got to open up the spillway? This is a spillway that they opened or that they built so that the river water can go into Lake Pontchartrain whenever the river level gets too high, so that they don't flood New Orleans. That's what that is. For me, who far asked how much for this setup? For me, I didn't spend a dime on this. I strictly got the old Lenovo, like I show you all in my videos. That's a smaller mini PC. It had an older hard drive in it with Windows. Oh, I'm drinking Diet Coke still, and I'm still falling asleep. I think all these nights of 3 hour sleeps for the last literally 4 nights is starting to catch up with me. I already had the black SDR. I showed y'all that in the video the other day. So I loaded up Ubuntu on the computer. Had the SDR already. I had a feed line already coming down, so I didn't have to worry about the feed line. And I already had an adapter to get the SDR onto that feed line. And is it now? Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not gonna see a video from me anytime soon as far as how to put this together, because it took me about 2 days trying to configure Ubuntu to work with this. It took me several hours just to get the what they call the AIS catcher, which is the program on the computer that captures the airplane stuff. For some reason, I couldn't get that to work. Ran a couple of different scripts I kept finding online and on the website or the Discord. I ran it, and then I got the AIS catch to work. So on my screen, I could see all the plane information. I'm sorry, the ship information, but I couldn't get it to talk to mass chain servers. It kept telling me I was offline. They pinged two other admins. One said he couldn't help me. He couldn't figure it out. The other one came in and said that, they were going to look at it shortly. They'll start digging into it. And about 20 minutes later, it started working and it was showed online. And then they came back to me like 2 hours later saying, hey, you want to try this? You want to try this? And I'm like, no, we ain't going to try nothing. It's working. Oh, okay. So it was a little bit of a learning curve. Now, as you can see, though, with my coverage, even with this great antenna, I'm not even covering Baton Rouge. And I do have 2 building tops on top of Baton Rouge. So there's a part of me. And while you might not see all this traffic in Baton Rouge, you're going to see I would guess 60, 70% of that. So if I can get Baton Rouge, that would fill in this spot. If I still have my hunting camp up here, hunting camp, I always knew where it was because there's backwards C on the map. And you got the Red River right here. It was always up in here. And if I still had that, I'd put one up there because any ships or anything messing with the Red River, I'd have something on that. And then this is the Mississippi River going all the way up to was it North Minnesota? Oh, let's see. If you don't need a box or anything like that, you definitely need one of these. It has to be, the black one or at least an all band one that can do VHF. I think pretty much they all do. But this is the exact one I've used. I've given this one away for a while. For different people and stuff like that. I had giveaways during some of my YouTube lives and stuff, and I gave these things away. Now I wish I could have held on to them, but hey, it is what it is. I've had several of these. I bet I had 10 of these at one time, 8 or 10, somewhere around there, for all my D-scam devices. When before we knew D-Fly was a scam, I bought strictly these because I didn't know better, and so that's why I kind of did the giveaways with them. But of all the ones that I had, I can tell you, I've had one out of all the ones I've used on and off. Now, I still have actually, I think I got 2 of my friends' Wingbit stations that are using these with the LNAs. And that actually makes a pretty good combination. I'll tell y'all, on Wingbits for DIY, this right here, along with a separate LNA, the good LNAs, like Noelec or something like that, this is better than any other SDR other than the AirSpy Mini that you gotta really pay for. But if you just want to put regular results side by side, any of the blue ones, the green one, this will outperform it with an LNA. So LNA with a filter. So there's that. Figure you already have a computer or a potato or anything like that. The biggest thing is I don't know about the antenna. And with Marine, with VHF, the longer the antenna, the better range you're getting. This is fact. Some of y'all don't want an 8-foot antenna in y'all's house or a 12-foot antenna. But some of these Marine shops, I mean, you need, I'm sorry, some of these Marine antennas, you have to have the super length, super duper length. Some of them, that's what I was getting at. Some of them are like 8 to 12 feet. Some of y'all don't want that on a house. They have 3 foots. They got 6 foots, but you know, but you are only receiving. So that's the thing. That's kind of question mark. But the one I'm using is, I don't know. I don't know the DB224E. I showed y'all that the other day. But with VHF wants that long stuff. I think these are right at a little over 200 feet. $20 feet long, 21 feet long. Woo, that's crazy. 21 feet long. But you don't need nothing nice. You definitely don't need nothing this extravagant. This is just what happens to be up there already, because you find that some towers have a decent amount of abandoned VHF and some UHF, but more abandoned VHF, just because with some radio systems going to trunked systems and stuff like that, they don't have the need for VHF anymore. So if you happen to know somebody with a tower and you say, hey, nobody's using that spot, do you mind if I just plug something into it? And one day he's gonna call and say, hey, I got somebody going to this tower. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess I got to move it now. So we'll see. Who farted? I'm gonna tell you. Pull my hair out. I know I ain't got that much hair left, but I'm telling you, Saturday, pull my hair out my head trying to get this thing running. Now, could it have been something wrong with my Ubuntu? Could it have been? I don't know. It was pain in the rear end. Then I had to tap in some different admins and stuff like that. And we never could get it online. And then the next day I reached out to them and said, hey, was there anything y'all can figure out that we might be doing wrong? And they're like, well, you're online. Sure enough, I go to my page, on mass chain or whatever, and I'm online. So I don't know. Yes, I believe anybody can go view the mass chain explore as long as you sign in, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if you have to sign, because if you go to mass chain, yeah, so you have to go to here to see the wallet. I'm sorry, the map. Trying to think of another way. There's supposed to be another way you can get to the map, but I think that's by going into your local console, which I could never get that running. But I'm trying to remember, because I remember looking at this map before I joined. That's what I'm sitting there thinking about. I'm gonna tell y'all a funny thing though. When I first went to this today, after I hooked my device into this new antenna, I said, "Oh, these boys are gonna be impressed with me. I'm getting ships all the way over here in Tampa." But then I realized I see this right here, it says only vessels I track. So when I do that, all these boats, ships disappear. So I'm not going that far with it. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. About to wrap this up anyway. That's Mass Chain. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Depending on how far you live from water, and like I told y'all before, um, this is the AIS tracker map that anybody can go to. If you Google AIS tracker, so you can see that this is the I was telling you earlier, for those the intercoastal waterway. You can see how these ships are. See how they're going along here, coming in, go through Mississippi River somehow. But anyway, and then you can see. You see how thick it is. Anyway, but one thing I wanted to show y'all is when you look at this like here, don't think that automatically because you're not close to the coast that you're automatically not eligible for this project. Like I said, depending on where you live at. When you live in the middle of Montana or Utah, you're probably not going to do any good with this project. If you're 100 miles from the water, you're not going to do any good with this project. But if you anyway any of these waterways that have these cargo vessels and stuff moving through here. So that's the AIS tracker. So who falls if it ends up being legit? I can see what's about it. I got the red and yellow dongle along with the green because of Wingbits. I'd like to check out if there's DIY. There is DIY. That's what I've set up. The only thing is, I'm telling you, is that according to the website, those dongles will not work. The yellow one, because I have yellow one also. The yellow one is for VHF. I'm trying to think. VHF Air Band. The what color you had? Red. Red is I think UAT 978 or something like that. That's not it either. So like I said, luckily I had a black one left over from previous projects. So man, whose government tracks boats? We don't track boats. We track fishing boats. Make sure they're not catching too many of our fish. And look, if they think you caught too many fish, that's your ass. One's VHF, one's 987. Yeah, but I said the VHF one, the yellow one is VHF, and I'm pretty sure unless they changed it, it was air band. So it was only really designed to do 100 and maybe 130 megahertz. Whatever that airband is that we played around with for a little while. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Which is still about 30 megahertz off of what you need. Yeah. Because, you know, like I said, that would have been too easy for me to try to use that one. I don't even see it on Amazon. I'm sitting here clipping through it and I don't see it. I'm looking through my past orders. I don't want nobody to think I forgot about y'all. Damn, I bought some stuff from Amazon. I don't see it. I don't even see it on here. I must have bought it off the website, but who knows? Oh, the mass change station around me, and the ad shows like 2 tugs near Kansas City. I think living near a port would be ideal for this project. Landlocked. I mean, I'm technically the Mississippi River where I'm at's a port of South Louisiana. So, all right, boys and girls, I'm about to fall asleep and fall on my face. So I appreciate everybody who came by. Let's see what happens between now and Thursday in our crypto projects. There was something I wanted to talk about and I forgot. So maybe if I remember for Thursday, I'll bring it up. About one of our projects. No news on Wingbits or anything like that yet. Before y'all leave, make sure y'all hit the thumbs up button. And I'll try to get some sleep tonight or tomorrow night, so I'm not doing this on Thursday. But something else I wanted to tell y'all before we cut out, but I don't know. Can't think of it. So I had notes. Actually, I had notes written down for this one. Y'all should be somewhat proud of me. So we stayed on the rails for the first 5-10 minutes. And I yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Like the yawning domino. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe is because I'm watching my live as I yawn. It took just one yawn, and then I see myself yawning, and then I'm like, now I'm yawning, then I'm yawning again. But I'm never yawn this bad. It's Tuesday night. That's weird. I'm telling you, if you remember last Tuesday, I was doing the same thing, and I'm like, don't fall asleep in the middle. Don't start snoring on your live. You don't want to become viral that way. Guys, it's a little boring right now. I'm not gonna sit and lie to you. It's nothing really much to talk about. Even if Wingbits goes TGE in January, we're gonna be like, "Hey, Wingbits went TGE." Okay, now we're back to being bored again. 4D Sky. That's what I wanted to tell you. Still sitting in the same spot. I wanted to get this up over the weekend. It didn't work. I will have this up by this weekend. I don't care. We're gonna stick it up my window right here. I want to get it start to work. Also working on a mesh-tastic mesh core solar node, how to put together video from an outdoors channel. I got about half produced, and I got sidetracked at after work. Somebody came by and talked to me about something else, and then I finished off the node and realized I didn't record the second half of it. So, I know some of y'all talked to me about mesh core, mesh-tastic, because that's where I heard about it from. So we'll see. All right, boys and girls, thank y'all very much. Let's touch over main chain. Deer jerky giveaways. Listen, I make deer jerky, and all my friends beg me for it. I got a homemade recipe that my father passed on to me. And I got guys who used to smuggle that literally at school. Is my dad would make it like, don't touch any of this jerky. I'm going hunting in Texas for a week, and he would make all day hunts, and that's what he would eat was the jerky he made. He dried it out himself in the oven. My mom couldn't stand the smell, but it was phenomenal. And I used to smuggle it to school because my friends loved it so much, and I could get whatever I wanted for it at the time. So I was hustling, non-USDA certified jerky in the back of the school bus, because it was that good. So I'm not sharing it with anybody. So I gotta wait to get it back from the butcher yet to see what he pulled out of it, how many roast and how many pounds of sausage and ground meat, and then go from there. We'll see. So, all right, that's it. Last yawn. I'm done. Thank y'all for watching. Somebody get the light on the way out.